This computer.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monson Board of Selectmen meeting for Tuesday, January 12th, 2020. We have 7 items on the agenda this evening under new business, so let's jump right in. First, approve the minutes of December 22nd, 2020, open and no executive session minutes though, no?
No, sir. Yeah, we'll skip that. I'll wrap
So
them up.
just open session. I would entertain a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Second,
Good. Any discussion on them? Hearing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
And I vote aye. Second item on the agenda, Thomas Joyce. We have a new full-time EMT. Chief Harris is here, I believe, so.
Yes, I am. Yes, Tom is filling a void in our full-time staff after the resignation of Captain Jonathan Busquet. Tom is going to be a full-time firefighter EMT. He currently has experience as an EMT in the private service, but no fire experience. We will be putting him through some internal training as well as the full-time fire academy coming up in May.
Okay, thank you. Tom, just want to introduce yourself to the community?
How are we doing, everybody? Glad to be here. My name is Tom Joyce. I'm from Southbridge, Mass, not too far down the street. I'm 29 years old. I'm very happy for the opportunity and can't wait to work closely with you guys.
Oh, glad to have you. Anybody have any questions for Tom?
Glad to have you, Tom. You're in good hands.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
So
Still
Chief,
got a little education to get to the fire
Okay.
school.
I'm sorry?
Is that?
Ed said you have a little more education to get through the fire side of the house, correct?
Yeah, so I have I'm now a 3rd generation fireman. So I grew up in
Wow.
the business. So I have a different side of experience. But I can't wait to get started and learn firsthand. Seems like you guys have a great crew over there and gonna be picking a lot of brains and being a sponge.
They are a great crew.
Yeah, I can't wait for next Monday. I've been sitting on at the edge of my seat getting ready. So
Good. I can't wait to meet you.
so Chief, this appointment's immediately through when?
He starts the 18th of January and it'll be a 3-year appointment.
1821. So through June 30th, 2024?
Correct.
Anybody else have any questions or comments?
No, I guess we'll
I
get an
do not. Just
opportunity.
good luck.
I assume we'll get an opportunity to meet you.
Yeah.
oh yeah, can't wait to meet all you guys.
All right.
All right. So if there's no other questions, I would entertain a motion to appoint Thomas Joyce as a full-time EMT and firefighter, Chief?
Correct.
Firefighter EMT, effective January 15th, 2021 through 6/30/2024.
So moved.
Second,
All right. Any further discussion? Okay. Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Welcome
Welcome aboard.
aboard.
Thank you very much.
We'll meet you soon.
All righty, can't wait.
All right. Have a good night.
Take care.
Third item on the agenda, appointment of town accountant / finance director.
Sure. So I have Mary Loria and Jamie Farnham on the call with us. Maybe I could just give a little overview, and then Mary, if you want to jump in.
If you could, please. Thank you.
Okay, so Mary has been a member of the Town of Monson team here as our finance director since 2015, correct?
yes.
Time flies. And so Mary has announced that she plans to become a member of the team over in Grafton. And so in learning that, we had reached out to Jamie, who has agreed to move on in the Town of Monson structure and move up to the finance director position from the assistant accountant position. Maybe Mary can talk a little bit about Jamie's qualifications and why we made that choice.
Yes, Jamie has been employed with the town of Monson since August of 2014. She started out in the town clerk department, and she then transferred over to the accounting department in 2018. It's been a pleasure to work with Jamie. Jamie is a hard worker. She goes above and beyond. She has the aptitude to be a successful finance director. She takes the initiative to do things herself. When I ask her to help me on projects, she doesn't need me to hover over her per se. She likes to just take it, read my notes, and she figures it out for herself. And she's been very successful doing that. And Jamie will be a very successful finance director for the town of Monson.
Thank you.
First, I'm sorry to see you go.
Oh, I will miss you all. I do. My heart it will always be in Monson. I love Monson. I'm forever grateful for the opportunity that you all have given me.
Yeah, you've definitely been an asset to the community.
True. Good luck, Mary. And Jamie, what a wonderful replacement you've left us with.
Oh, thank you so much. I am very honored and excited to take on the finance director position. Mary has prepared me really well, and honestly, I'm going to miss her too. In the excitement of me accepting this opportunity, it makes me sad that I'm losing Mary as part of it, but she really has prepared me well, and I'm really excited for this opportunity.
You're going to do great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Jamie, welcome aboard. In that capacity, I think you're going to do great, and I have all the confidence in you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Ed, do you have any comments?
No, I'm sure you're all correct with that. So the appointment is going to be approved tonight?
Yeah,
It's
so
going
we're,
to become effective.
so we'd be
Okay.
moving to appoint Jamie Farnham as town accountant / finance director, effective February 1st through June 30th of 2021, and then she'll get picked up into the normal cycle.
Well, I move that, I move what you said.
So,
Yeah, that's it. So moved.
so moved.
Second.
Much easier that way, Ed.
I'm tired of
All
saying
right.
it.
Any
So
further
Not
discussion?
like me now.
No, I'd just like to say, Mary and I, when Mary had come to see me that says she was leaving, there really was no question whether or not Jamie was going to move up and whether she'd be qualified. It was just a matter of whether she would accept the position. And so we're really lucky to have her here, and I think going to do great things for the town of Monson. So that's all.
I agree. Thanks.
Very good.
Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, I would call for a vote. All those in favor?
I
I,
vote aye.
And I vote aye. Jamie, welcome aboard. Well, again aboard, but
And you will.
and Mary, thanks again for everything you've done for the community,
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
for us as well.
All right. Go home, Jamie.
Well.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda, conservation restriction amendment on APR land. Evan?
Yes, so the town had granted a conservation restriction for what we call the Harrington property in the past. And so that's roughly 169 acres, I believe. Hold on one second here. Just closed my notes by accident. So it's a 164 acre parcel. And this is out by Peaked Mountain. And so what happens is we hold this conservation restriction until such time as the property is transferred over to the trustees of the reservation. to connect all of those parcels out there as part of the, excuse me, Pekin Mountain Reserve. And Mrs. Harrington has decided to add roughly 12 acres of land to that property, 11.59 acres to the conservation restriction, which will then be turned over to the trustees of the reservations at a point in time in which that's appropriate. So I can actually show you, if you'd like, the map of where that is.
Yes, please.
Okay. Go share screen. All right. So if you can see that screen, this whole designated red area is what's remaining of the Harrington property. And the additional land is right here, this smaller parcel. This is the 11.59 acres. And if I push in, you'll easily recognize this is the parking lot for Pekin Mountain. And so it's the fields directly across that all along Butler Road until what's called Harradine Road, which is more of a driveway than anything else. But it is, you know, integral to this part that's already preserved under the trustees right here. So we're just looking to expand the original conservation restriction to include this property here.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
To add the 1159?
11.59 acres, yes.
Well, I move that we approve the 11.59 acres of the Harringtons to get a conservation restriction amendment on APR land as read, as
Second.
described.
Good, thank you.
All right, any discussion on it? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Great. So I will leave this on the select board's table for signature.
Okay.
So at your convenience, if you could stop in and sign it. It has, you have to sign it, the Conservation Commission signs off on it. And then obviously the owner and the attorney. So if you could do that for us, that would be great. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay.
Item, repair of Dave Grief Park clock.
Yes, so the never-ending clock.
Yeah. How long ago was that repaired? A couple years ago?
2014.
All right, 6 years.
I did speak with Mr. DeMeo this morning about the clock to make sure I understood exactly what we're trying to accomplish here. So we put around $1,200 into the clock back in 2014, and that was to repair the mechanism that controls the clock up at the top, the clock head, the face. Since that time, we entered into a service contract for $600 a year to maintain the clock. We started having more problems with the clock this year. This year and most of 2020. The clock company did come out and do some repairs as part of that service agreement. However, the clock is no longer able to be repaired, and we can no longer get parts for the mechanism that's in that clock. So Mr. DeMeo secured a proposal, and the proposal is as follows: to replace the guts of the clock with a Verdin Master clock controller with optional GPS interface, a new 4-way timepiece with 4 sets of hands and stand. So it's really redoing the entire clock. They would
Entire clock?
It's everything inside the shell. So
Okay.
it's all the guts, and so the controller mechanism is in the base of the clock, and the GPS mechanism is in the top of the clock, and then you have the face. And at the same time, we would seek to upgrade all of the lights in it to LED and replace the Lexan covers on it. Might as well do that while we're doing the project, and that would restore that clock to its former new glory. For people that are unaware, this is the clock that sits at the corner of Main Street and Lincoln Street in Dave Reeve Park. I will say, Dr. Smith asked me how much that clock is used, and when that clock is wrong, we know it from the townspeople much sooner than we notice it. We do get a fair number of calls on the clock, and especially when it's no longer keeping the right time. So I do think it is used, and I think it's a fixture of the downtown and the park. That said, it is not inexpensive. And so to repair all of the guts, upgrade the lights to the LEDs, and replace the Lexan covers, it's $5,290.
Is there a warranty on it?
Yes, I believe there is a 1-year warranty on all parts.
Did we get other estimates?
So this is a Verdin clock from the Verdin company. So we either replace the clock in its entirety or go through Verdin. Mr. DeMayo did some research on that, and this was the option available unless we want to pull the entire clock and get something different.
How much is that? Did he get estimates on that?
No, he did not.
Maybe we should. That's a lot.
I'm going to venture a guess that a new clock is more than this, but we can certainly get that information if that's what the board would like to see.
I think it's a lot, but it's also, I don't think we could easily replace that.
You can replace it. I mean, it's just bolted to a piece of concrete with power. It's a matter of whether the board wants to retain the
Well, that's what I meant, more the historic look and everything else of it.
the light that's there. Or,
Who paid for it originally?
Oh, Ed, I don't know.
You were here, weren't you?
I could research that, but way before I started. I'm not entirely sure.
I think that
And we're-
community preservation or the ones that were fixing up the town did it.
And who's paying now? Where's
It
it
would be
coming
a
from
gift.
now?
It would be gifts to the
Gifts.
town.
Or how about CPA funds?
You can't use CPA funds for maintenance or repair. You can only use it for replacement. And I don't know that a clock would meet that, but I can certainly look. I'll
I'm
do
just
whatever the
thinking-
board would like to do. It's just a matter of how you want to do it.
Well,
was
due
thinking-
diligence would say to look at other options, and just see what the numbers are out there.
Yeah, if the board wants to see a different clock, if that's the goal, is to get quotes on different clocks, new clocks, we can certainly do that. This is the cost to repair the one that's currently existing in the park.
Ed-
Well, maybe we could get numbers and then get a feeling for what the people in town feel. I'm not sure.
Ed, any thoughts?
Well, I certainly would like to see the same clock that's there, stays there. I think it has some historical significance. And the money comes from gifts to the town if we allocate that money from that source. So it's not going to have a negative impact on taxes or anything. So I don't know, I would move that we, if we don't find some better alternative for that, I would move that we allocate $5,290 for replacement of the guts of the current clock.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Ed that, I prefer the older historic clock. I mean, it may be good to do the due diligence and see what a new one costs, but I don't know if it's even worth doing that if we want to keep the old clock and, the historic value of it. So, given that, how do you want to proceed?
you have a motion, so somebody needs to second it either way, and then you can vote it up or down.
Well, I think it was more, if we're keeping, I move that we,
Okay. You could always move to approve $5,290 not to exceed for the purposes of repairing the clock, and then we can certainly search for another option, although I know Mr. DeMeo seemed to have exhausted his ability to find other companies to fix the clock. And then, as long as, if we find other options that are more expensive, we stay with this and get it moving, or you can table it till the next meeting and I'll come back.
there's no urgency on it, is there?
No, I just think nobody knows what time it is, that's all.
Yeah.
So we can certainly table it until the next meeting and I can have further conversation with Mr. DeMeo.
Yeah, I mean, Mary would like to see an estimate for replacing it. Why don't we see about that and table it for next meeting and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Mary, you good with that?
I am, thank you.
Okay.
How about a sundial?
Ooh.
Real historic value.
Never
Yeah,
There
broken.
you go.
Well, we could have a light with it, so
There you go.
it'd be good at night.
All right, so we're going to table that till next meeting. So if you could please put that on the agenda. Brings us to number 6, holiday lighting discussion.
Yep. So if the board recalls, we just did holiday lighting money
Mhm.
in November, I think, or October maybe. But I was having conversations with Mr. Malo regarding lighting and what we've been doing in the downtown area. And he pointed out that this time of year, between January and usually around March, the companies that he deals with to get the lighting for our holiday lights are 30% cheaper than they are at the end of the year.
Yeah, of course.
So he thought it might be prudent to approach, or ask me to approach the board to see if you wanted to, rather than give your customary $5,000 at the end of the year, you wanted to do it at the beginning of the year so he could make those dollars go farther.
I support that.
Yeah, makes sense. How's the upgrades doing as far as all the lighting?
Good. He's making, Scott and crew have made really good progress. So they've been balancing between, spending money replacing the old lights and then adding some new stuff in at the same time to try to, zhuzh it up a little bit every year. So they've been doing really well. I think we only have a handful left of the original old lights that are just falling apart when they try to get them up on the pole. And those are the ones that usually they have that red plastic roof and the candles in the middle.
Mhm.
And so now those are mostly snowflakes and there's some candles and some other looking stuff out there. So made good progress though. So I think it's definitely something that the residents enjoy.
Oh, yeah. It's beautiful driving downtown in the holiday season.
Absolutely.
Ed, do you have any?
I would give them the $5,000 now as opposed to waiting until the winter.
I second that.
Okay. Any discussion? Ed, do you want to weigh in on it at all?
Well, I think it's a good idea if it can get a cheaper price on stuff that's falling apart.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I vote aye. All right, so it's like the after Christmas sale.
Right.
All right, last item on this evening, under new business, town administrator announcement. I'll leave that over to you, Evan.
Yes. So not that it's a secret at this point because the internet exists, but I have been tapped to be the next town administrator in Grafton. I am currently in negotiations with the town of Grafton. So while the negotiations are not final, I would anticipate that I will be submitting a resignation letter to the board in fairly short order. So that being said, it's bittersweet. It's a good opportunity for me and my family. That said, Munson's my home, and I've really enjoyed my time working here. And I think we've been able to accomplish a lot of really good things for the community. And so I wanted to put this on the agenda this evening because I think that the board needs to start sooner rather than later to engage a search firm to find your next town administrator. I also think that you need to start having a conversation about what you're going to do in the interim, because searches are not always the fastest route, but they are the most sound route for finding yourselves a suitable chief appointed officer. So I have been in contact so far with the search firm. They're called Paradigm. It's run by a man named Bernie Lynch. Their estimate to do a search, should the board choose to go that route, is $12,000. And so if the board is interested in pursuing this, there's a number of ways you can go. You can reach out to Mr. Lynch from Paradigm and have a conversation there and review their proposal. You can interview a number of different companies and see which one you like best and see which one is maybe the least expensive. From what I've heard from other communities, Paradigm is doing a lot of them now, and their price is generally the best price that people get. I was just hired through the Paradigm, picked through the Paradigm process. And I can tell you as a candidate, I much preferred it to the process that brought me to Monson the first time. So I think it's definitely something that needs to be discussed, and you guys need to look at what you want to do in the interim as well, provided that my contract negotiation goes through, which I don't have any, I believe it will shortly.
Well, let me say, I was very sad to hear of you leaving us. You've been an incredible asset to the town, and I always tell people one of the best things I did as a selectman was hire you. So again, very sad to see you go.
Thank you.
Ditto.
Evan, will you be staying in town?
Yeah, for the foreseeable future, I'm going to do the commuter thing for a while and see how that goes. And I'd like my kids to grow up here and go to school here. As I did, I really enjoy Monson, and I think Monson's my home. But we'll see what the future holds. But yeah, for the foreseeable future, I'll be here.
New house and all, yeah.
Yep. I don't know where my chickens would go, so I gotta.
You're gonna take the chickens with you?
I don't know. They like their spot, so.
They know the lay of the land there.
They do. They do.
I have a question. It may seem like naive, but do we have to go through a group to review applicants? Is it something we could do on our own and not spend the $12,000, or how does that work? I don't know.
Yes, you certainly could. I would highly recommend against it. And so the reason I would is that going through a search firm, and this being what they do, they're going to do a lot of stuff in the background that you as a board would likely not either have the time or knowledge to do. They're gonna put feelers out to a whole bunch of people that are sitting in current positions. They're gonna advise you on things like what your initial advertising offer should be pay-wise, what current benefits look like, what's been successful in other communities, and then they're gonna help you narrow it down from many candidates down to a manageable amount. So when I went through this last search, they had a search committee, which was made up of residents as well as members of different boards or departments, however that was selected. They did a survey of the townspeople of what they wanted to see. And then the search firm did the initial interview. Candidates then submitted references that were checked, background check, and Corey. And then they got their final interview with the Board of Selectmen, the top 3. And then the board voted from there. So, there's key pieces in there that I would recommend to go with a firm of some kind.
Do you know how many people applied last time when you got the position?
No.
So I was part of that process. I don't recall how many, but it was a lot. And at that time, I think it was well worth, spending the money. I understand it's a lot of money, but it was well worth spending that money. And they brought us the top 3 candidates because that's what we had requested. I think there was a woman from Ohio who actually came out because they just a nationwide search. And like I said, I think it's a lot of money, but well worth it if it helps us get the right candidate.
It's a lot of money. I'll do that.
Yeah, we've been through this a few times for
Yep.
different positions. I think it's worth the money. But
I do too. I know for people outside of the municipal world, 12,000 seems like a lot on a search, but I think that the person that you get in this office makes a huge difference in town. And you really want to spend your time vetting the candidate and making sure that you select the right person to fill the spot.
True.
Such an important role. I think it's well worth it.
I agree.
So I'm fine with using Paradigm. I know you had the experience with those 2, the one that hired you to Monson, and then obviously Paradigm now. And you had said that Paradigm was a much better process. And as long as they're comparable in price, then I'm good with it.
Yeah.
And I think we should do sooner rather than later, so it doesn't take forever. We're not using an interim for 6 months or a year. It's better to keep the process as quick as possible, in my opinion.
Sounds like we're all in agreement now, so
Okay.
can we just go ahead and agree that we'll enlist Paradigm in helping us find a new town manager?
Yep. Is that a motion?
Yes, I make
Yep.
a motion.
If you could amend it, I would recommend amending it just to say, not to exceed $12,000.
Okay.
Okay.
Because you don't want to leave that open-ended is all. Thank you.
Yep.
I second.
Good. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. And then as far as interim, last time between Gretchen and Evan, we used Dan LaRoche. He just stepped into the position. I don't know if he's interested or what you guys' thoughts are.
I spoke to Dan this morning again, and at the current time, he is not interested.
Okay.
He's not interested in the position afterwards, and he found it hard to go back to working with other department heads and doing his role after filling the town admin spot. So he's more than willing to pick up some of the duties of the town administrator to lighten the load and, procurement stuff, all of that kind of stuff, but he would prefer not to be the interim.
Okay. Evan, did you say Paradigm had a recommendation also?
They will give us, they don't place town administrators, but they will give us a list of names of people that would be, in our area and available. And then we could reach out and see if they're interested.
Okay.
So I could talk to Mr. Lynch if that's what the board would like and see what they have available.
I don't know. Anybody else have any other thoughts?
Well, if we get moving right away, maybe that won't be an issue.
You're still going to
More
need
than
an
30.
interim.
Yeah.
You're going to need to have somebody to fill the gap at least, because it's going to take you a couple of months to go through, a process to find somebody.
Okay.
So I would recommend finding somebody, even if you did a 90-day contract or something, to just have somebody here. I mean, I had a medical issue yesterday. I was out of the office. I missed 108 emails. So you're going to need somebody here to wade through that.
Ed, do you have any thoughts on an interim?
Well, I think that's the way we ought to go. If what other alternatives do we have? Just try and do it ourselves? I don't think we ought to do it ourselves.
No, I meant as far as finding an interim. Or you,
Finding an interim, do we have anybody on staff that we could have as an interim? Besides Dan?
You could, so the board could put it out to staff members and see if anybody is interested in filling the role for a short time. You could certainly do that. Dan usually winds up good because the town planner and town administrator overlap quite a bit.
Mhm.
We're constantly working together, and then, you know, some of the planning stuff, if it has to be backburnered a little bit, doesn't wind up being catastrophic for the organization, but him not being available to do it kind of.
I've
Would
heard
it be something that if somebody in town had the experience that they could do it, they could apply?
Yeah, I would think so if they had the experience. So, you know, I know that we have a couple of town administrators that have retired recently that live either in town or in the next town over that would potentially be willing to do it. I would push the board to go in that direction as to try to find somebody that has done the job before, because legally there's a lot of stuff that'll crop up that you kind of need to, you know,
Yeah.
to just hold the fort down until you hire a new person. So.
yeah, given Dan's experience, you know, I tend to lean towards that as opposed to finding somebody internal.
So, I mean, I'd be more than happy to place a call to Mr. Lynch in the morning and see if we can get a list of people for me to reach out. His contact network is pretty deep, as is mine. I can reach out to a few folks that I know local here that
We
have
could all
have
do-
done the job.
Maybe we can all do that and bring it back in a couple weeks and see who we've come up with.
I would rather move sooner than that. I don't know if 2 weeks is going to be enough time. Because if Evan's given us, you know, a month's notice, and then 2 weeks from now, we, you know, look for the interim, that doesn't give us much time.
Well, could we give ourselves maybe 5 days or something and then have a meeting to discuss it?
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe if we have another meeting before then, you know, to discuss it, you know, that's the only thing on the agenda. But, you know, I just feel like we really need to be on top of this and move quickly.
I agree.
with-
I agree. Want to
Maybe-
do it right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe next Tuesday,
Yep.
same
Yeah.
time.
Ed, that work for you?
Sure.
Okay. All right, so yeah, if you could, you know, ask the gentleman from Paradigm to, you know, give us a list if he has one, and everybody else, that would be great, and we can discuss going forward from there and interview some people if we have multiple candidates and come up with somebody.
Great.
Maybe we could have Paradigm talk to us next Tuesday.
Yes, that would be my,
Yep.
I'll reach out to Mr. Lynch and put that on his calendar if he's not already booked up, but we'll definitely get him, because you're going to want to have a conversation with him to get started.
Yep. Great. All right, anything else on this?
No.
Well,
Well, then that concludes all our new business. So that moves on to correspondence. Mary, you have the correspondence?
I do not. I didn't get the agenda or anything, I'm afraid.
Okay. I'm gonna have to.
you want me to read 'em?
I can read it. So number one, letter of resignation from Finance Director Mary Laria, effective January 30th, 2021. Number two, letter and unrestricted municipal gift from the Norcross Wildlife Foundation, Inc., in the amount of $25,000. Thank you very much. Can somebody send them a thank you note?
Yeah. Galen, will you help me with that letter and we can get that sent off?
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Number three, letter from the Department of Environmental Protection regarding the disposal site at 293 South Main Street. Number four, letter from National Grid in compliance with 333 CMR 11.06, public notice for a 45-day yearly operational plan, a map of the right-of-way corridors, and the 21-day herbicide application notification. Five, two letters from Comcast, one letter regarding regional sports network, and the second letter pertaining to programming changes. Number 6, letter from a resident regarding her recycling pickup. End of correspondence. And that brings us on to any other business. So first, Ed, do you have anything for us this evening? Anything else?
I don't have anything on the list.
All right. Mary, you have anything to add this evening?
Do we have any information? We were trying to help out some neighbors up on Cedar Swamp
Yep,
that were having some problems.
Yep, so I've been back and forth with the attorneys a number of times. I quite frankly didn't like the initial approach that we were headed down. So I pushed that back to the attorneys, and I was actually supposed to speak with them yesterday, but was called away from the office unexpected. So it is on my radar to be done by the end of the week, so that we can have a relative solution to what's going on out there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Evan, you have anything to add tonight?
No, sir.
Okay. And I don't have anything, so then I would open it up to, other business brought to the board from members of the public.
Sure. So if you are on the call, oh, somebody has already raised their hand. Just to go over how it works, if you go down into the participants tab and click raise hand, a little blue hand will come up and I will ask you to unmute. Or if you're on the phone, you can press *9 to raise your hand and then I will unmute you. All right, first one is Melissa.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, Melissa, you're all set. Go ahead.
Okay, it's Brian Harris is still on, correct?
Chief Harris is on. I just will have to unmute him, but go ahead.
Okay.
He can hear you.
Hi, Chief Harris, how are you?
Good, yourself?
Good. So my question is very specific. I'm sure you may or maybe not saw the chatter on the MFD page, but in pertaining to the seasonal burn permits, last year we were able to purchase seasonal burn permits, and this year we cannot. So I'm just wondering if the law changed.
The law did not change. Last year on April 1st, when we were dealing with the initial onset of COVID, we put a post up on our Facebook page telling people that they could come down and get a seasonal permit. What happened is somebody from the state of Massachusetts saw that. I received a call from the Department of Fire Services Code Compliance, and he explained to me that under Mass General Law 48, Section 13, that seasonal permits are not allowed and no permit can exceed 2 days.
So, other departments, I've been to other department pages, and they seem to have had seasonal passes in the past also. So I was just wondering if there was a change, because this year, like you said, that they're saying they can't do it. So I don't think it was just Monson. I think they were all doing seasonal, or many were doing seasonal passes. And then this year, all of a sudden, they can't or not.
I think other departments are probably doing exactly what we did and put something out on social media, which wasn't a big avenue for us in the past. That's being seen by the state, and the state is contacting those departments and telling them they can't do that because it's a violation of Mass General Law.
Okay, and then my other question pertains to agriculture.
Okay.
So under agriculture, you don't need a permit. You just have to notify that you're burning that day. Is that correct?
That's incorrect. I was in contact with DEP today and Department of Fire Services, and our own town bylaws, Article 25 said all open burning requires a permit. It does not segregate agricultural from a regular homeowner.
Okay, because have you talked to the state fire marshal on that?
I have talked to the Department of Fire Services, and our specific person is out right now. He'll be back on Thursday.
Okay, because I think it's contrary to what the state fire marshal has said. Is it possible to be able to have a conversation with him on that?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. Those were my questions.
All right, so Chief, sorry, Mr. Chairman, but I was just
No,
gonna
go ahead.
close the loop. So Chief, you'll just do your research and then close the loop on that?
Correct. I'll
Put us in-
continue looking into it and close the loop.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Melissa.
Oh,
Anybody
Melissa
else?
raised her- I might have prematurely muted Melissa. Hold on.
Sorry, one more
Nope.
thing. So William was just in the background and he was saying that a couple of the farmers in town wanted the ag committee to get together. So I don't know if Evan can help with facilitating that, specifically on the burning for the farmers, because they are saying that they can burn. So I think there definitely has to be a meeting to clarify that, and talks with the state fire marshal, because I think that some of the farmers have talked to the state fire marshal, and he said that that they actually could burn as long as they notified the fire department. So basically what I'm saying is that I think there definitely needs to be more clarification.
Yeah, so I saw the documentation from the fire marshal today, and the way I interpret it is that commercial agriculture does have the ability to burn by simply notifying, should there not be any other enabling authority that intercedes in that, which in this case would be our local bylaw, which appears to supersede that. So because we can't be looser than the state, but we can be tighter than the state. So Chief Harris and I will look at our local bylaw too and see if that is going to be an issue for us. And then we'll circle back with everybody, but I can.
Well, because my concern is because then the Farming Bureau might get involved, and I don't think that the farmers want to do that. So they're hoping, I think, to discuss it just, with the chief and keep it at that. So.
Right, which is why the chief he'll circle back and try to get that worked out, and then we can go from there. And any of those properties that are, exempt under 40A Section 3 that fall under commercial agriculture. I mean, there's not that many in town, so I think we'll be able to spread that information pretty quickly too.
Yeah, and then the other thing too is I was looking at the prices of permits in other towns, and because of the no seasonals, they're lowering I know ours is 10. It's 10 for the 2-day, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, they're doing it less than that. They're doing like 5, given, everything that's going on in the world, just to try and make it at least affordable. If someone's got to buy a permit every 2 days, so I don't know if that's a consideration.
That would be something for the board to look at.
Why don't we see what happens with the state first?
Well, the states, I mean, there's no seasonal passes, so.
No, I understand that, but let's see, when Chief Harris follows up with the state, see what he has to say, and then we can take it from there.
Do it all in one
Right.
shot.
Right, but you're still going to pay for a pass though, a permit, I mean.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll get the clarification to see, where the mix-up is as far as people thinking that they could do seasonal or, commercial, I should say, and so we'll see how many people are actually doing it.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right. I can mute you now, Melissa?
Yeah, I think I'm
Okay.
all set.
Okay, I just don't want to prematurely mute you again. Talk to you later. Thank you.
All right. Yep. Bye.
Thanks, Melissa.
Okay, if anyone else would like to speak, please raise your hand now. I don't have any additional ones currently, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right, if we have nobody, then we are having an executive session this evening.
No, I actually don't believe that the need exists at the current time. I put it on there for something that is not ready to be discussed, so we can push it till the second meeting in January.
Okay. Then I would hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Good night, everybody, and we will be back with you next Tuesday. Same time, same place.
Yep. Thank you all.
All right, good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Night.